8 April 2017, Nanthancode, Kerala. Some people living in Bain's compound of Nanthancode saw smoke rising from their nearby house at around 11:30 p.m. Seeing so much smoke coming out, neighbors immediately informed the fire department and the police. Since the basin compound is around 600 to 700 meters away from the cliff house, the official residence of Chief Minister Kerala, due to which it was also a high-security area. Hence, without wasting any time, the police and fire department reached there within a few minutes and controlled the fire. But no one was prepared for the dreadful scene that waiting them inside house. When the firefighters went inside the house, they not only found burnt items. In fact, they also found 4 dead bodies in the bathroom of a room on the first floor. All the bodies were almost completely burnt. Not only this, some of them were also mutilated very badly. Before the police could understand anything, the room catches fire again due to a loud explosion. After extinguishing the fire, when police went to that room, they found another dead body covered with a blanket in the attached bathroom, which had now started infesting with insects. To find out the reason for the accident, the police started their investigation. At first glance, everyone is feeling normal. It was believed that perhaps someone had murdered the entire family, and the police were also suspecting same. But in further investigation, they came across something which no one had imagined, because such a case had not seen before by Kerala police. The first big revelation that was going to be made in this case was related to the dead body, because out of the 5 dead bodies found by police, one was just a dummy, an effigy made of metal and clothes. Since the body was an effigy, it was clear that one member of the family was still missing. Who is that person? So let's learn more about today's case, which revolves around Cadell Jeanson Raja. 8 July 1988, Nanthancode, Kerala. Cadell Jeanson Raja was born in a highly educated and well-off family. Cadell's mother was Dr. Jean Padma, retired cardiologist, and father Dr. Raja Thankam was a retired history professor. Cadell's also had a younger sister. Caroline was also going to become a doctor like her mother after completing MBBS studies. According to the neighbors and relatives, the entire family was a very quiet nature, although they did not talk to anyone much, but everyone was very polite by nature. Previously, everyone praised his father Raja Thankam, even the drivers of auto rickshaws in which he used to travel. According to those auto rickshaw drivers, despite being so rich, he had no pride at all. Often they would pay double and sometimes triple fare. Due to being from such an overachieving family, there was pressure on Cadell since childhood to perform well in studies. But Cadell was never interested in studies, due to which he often got low marks. And for not giving answers in class, his teachers would beat him. Even at home, Cadell's father did not shy away from beating him and comparing with his sister Caroline. Even Cadell's mother did not pay much attention to him. And due to this behavior of his parents at home, Cadell had stopped talking to everyone. He had no friends, and he liked to spend most of his time in his room. Cadell was sidelined by his family, where on one hand the whole family lived well on the ground floor, while on the other hand, Cadell used to sit in front of the computer in his room on first floor, just playing video games. Cadell had become so distant from his family, he did not allow anyone to come up the first floor. And even if someone went upstairs by mistake, he would start shouting at them. This behavior of his was not limited only to the family, but even the maid working in his house was never allowed to go upstairs. Cadell's neighbors also scolded her more than once. Cadell was never seen coming out of the house or talking to anyone. Due to this behavior, his studies were also greatly affected, due to which his family started worrying about Cadell's future. So Cadell's father decided to send him to the Philippines to study MBBS in hope that his son could also pursue higher education like all the other family members. But after staying there for only a year, Cadell returned back to India, after which his parents sent him to Australia for computer engineering. But due to having no interest in studies at all, Cadell left everything behind and returned home. Cadell's father had now given up all expectations from him, and in his eyes, his son had become a failure. But one day, Cadell told his parents that he was interested in animation and wanted to become a game developer, for which he wanted to go to Australia again. Cadell had shown interest in something for the first time in his life, so his parents supported him in going to Australia. The decision was happily accepted by his family. After living in Australia for a few years, Cadell got a job there. He gave the news to his parents, hearing which both of them became very happy. Not only this, Cadell also got this job remotely from his home. So now he has returned to his home in India forever. A few months after coming home, his younger sister Caroline also came back home after completing her MBBS from China. Everyone in the house was very happy because now their small family was together again. Cadell had found the purpose of his life, and Caroline was also going to become a doctor very soon. What could be more proud for parents than this? But often the reality is quite different from what we see. It happens, and the same was in the case of Cadell, because no one would have imagined what Cadell was going to do in the next moment without giving importance to any relationship. On Wednesday, 5th April 2017, Cadell, who was 19 years old at that time, decided to kill his whole family. On 5th April, Cadell's father and sister had gone out of the house for some work. Cadell's mom and his grandmother were both alone in the house. Cadell told his mother that he had developed a game which he wanted to show them first, and his mother got very excited and happily went with him to the upstairs room. Her son, who had been living without talking to anyone for so many years, created a game of his own in his room. Finally, he wanted to go ahead and show them something. Cadell saw his mother on the chair in front of the computer. Asked to sit, and as soon the mother sat on that chair and focused all her attention on the computer screen in front, Cadell attacked her with an axe. The attack was so sudden that the mother did not even get a chance to recover. He kept attacking her till her breathing stopped. To prevent screams from coming out, he had already played loud music in his room. The mother's breath stopped. After leaving, he dragged her body and put it in his bathroom, and then without any delay, he quickly cleaned the blood spread there and went down. Cadell was now waiting for his father and sister to return home. When his dad and his sister came back home, he had lunch with them, and while having lunch, as if nothing had happened. However, when his sister asked about his mother, Cadell told her that she was watching the video game developed by him upstairs in his room. After this, he said to his dad, "I want to show you something. Will you please come with me to my room?" However, because he kept insisting so much, his dad finally agreed, and after taking him to the room, but again, Cadell did the same thing to his father. Cadell murdered his father with the same brutality as just a few hours ago. He did this to his mother. Cadell also put her body in the same bathroom where his mother's body was lying. Cadell's head was so full of blood that this time, so without even cleaning the blood spread in the room, he went downstairs to call his sister too. He took his sister into the same trap when Caroline entered his room. Seeing the blood scattered on the floor, walls, and all around, Caroline got scared and understood that her brother standing in front of was the devil who wanted to snatch her life. But before she could run away from the room, Cadell attacked her too with an axe. Luckily, Caroline did not get hurt much by Cadell's first attack. She was trying to run away with her life when Cadell cut her throat with a big, sharp knife kept near him. The house was built in a very large area, and on top of that, there was loud music in the room, due to which no one in the neighborhood could hear anything. Only the grandmother was left at home, who was very old. She could not hear and see properly. Cadell's cruelty did not end here. After killing all his family members, Cadell ordered food from a nearby restaurant the same night. He was so calm in his mind that he ordered 5 plates of food from there so that no one would suspect him. After having dinner with his grandmother, Cadell went to his room and slept. The same room where he had committed those murders. The same room in which the dead bodies of his family members were still lying in the attached bathroom. The next day, when the maid came home, not finding any member, so he asked Cadell about them, in response to which Cadell told him that his parents and sister had gone to Kanyakumari, meet a relative, and in a few days his grandmother may also have to go there. So the maid also believed this because there is no such thing as not believing. And as usual, he finished his work and left from there. When the maid returned home the next day, even Cadell's grandmother was not in the house, because Cadell had killed her in the same way. He murdered his grandmother, just like he had done to the rest of the family members. He already made a plan of murder of his grandmother. That's why a day before, he had talked about grandmother also going to Kanyakumari. Like I told you, grandmother could not even see and neither walked. So Cadell killed her in own room and then covered her body with a blanket in the attached bathroom. It gives goosebumps to think that Cadell stayed with the dead bodies of his family members for 3 days. During these days, maids kept coming to house, but they were forbidden to go the first floor of house. and Cadell had also locked the grandmother's door from outside. Hence, they had no clue about murders during these 3 days. Cadell also cut these dead bodies, but now bodies started decomposing and they also started smelling. Very soon, this smell could spread throughout the house and surrounding neighborhood. He was also completely prepared for the matter because he had already been secretly purchasing petrol from a petrol station near his house since March 31st and storing it in his house. On April 8, 2017, at around 11 p.m., Cadell poured petrol on the dead bodies of his mother, father, and sister, started burning. But within a short time, the fire got so out of control that it spread to the entire house. Seeing the fire-spreading house, Cadell got scared. He could not understand anything. He was unsure of what to do, so he felt it was better to run away from there in the darkness of night. After this firefighter came there and controlling the fire, when police entered inside the house, they were in shock. They found 5 bodies in this house. And after asking the neighbors, they came to know that, yes, only 5 members live in this house. Then at that time, the police got this information. It seemed okay that maybe all the members of this family might have died in this, but when they did further investigation, they found a very strange thing. Out of these 5 bodies, 1 body was a dummy body, which was made by mixing metal and clothes. So it was obvious that only 1 member of the house was missing, whose name was Cadell Jeanson Raja. But where did he go after running away from the house? Cadell spent 2 days in the whole city. He kept running and hiding for 2 days, but after 2 days, police finally arrested him at Trivandrum railway station, where the railway police were hiding suspicions on his identification from the wanted posters. Now, police want to know how Cadell had murdered his family members, but it was still difficult for them to understand why and what was the reason that Cadell took such a step. But it was very difficult for the police both to listen, what Cadell was going to tell and believe it. Since childhood, due to which he spent most of his time on the computer, he used to spend the whole day in front of a computer screen, either playing video games or surfing the internet. The video games that Cadell played were also very violent, whose theme was war and blood related. Surrounded with loneliness and negativity all day long, a 14-year-old child, one day, while surfing the internet, got lost in such dark paths, which perhaps was not appropriate for his age and understanding. But one topic which caught Cadell's attention the most was astral projection, is a kind of practice by performing which any person can see the soul coming out of body. He told the police that he had been practicing astral projection since the age of 14. He used to sit in his room all day long, and he just kept researching on this topic and practicing it. Cadell never had any job. He lied to his parents about getting a job as a game developer so that he could first go to Australia and practice astral projection. And even after returning home, no one should disturb him. Cadell had been practicing astral projection for 15 years while living under one roof with his family, and no one had the slightest idea about it. Cadell also told the police that he had been planning all these murders since May 2016. Not only this, the dummy which was found by the police had also been made by Cadell to practice the murders. He had also ordered an axe online, which was used after taking it. Since then, Cadell used to practice murder in his room on that dummy. According to Cadell, after committing the murders, souls of all his family members would come into that dummy, which would make him much more powerful. The police heard all these things from him, but they clearly refused to believe this. In the eyes of police, Cadell was just a vicious and ruthless criminal who carried out these murders with complete planning and a lot of thinking. Now, Cadell has started changing his statements every day. Sometimes he would say that hated his parents, and especially his father, because they had never allowed him to take care of his child, did not keep him well, and always tortured mentally, physically. When the police asked him, why would you kill your grandmother or sister? Because they did not make fun of you, or they did not pressurize him to study. He said that if my parents had died, my sister and grandmother would have been alone in this world. So he killed both of them to end their pain and suffering. When this case reached the court, and court declared Cadell mentally ill and unfit for trial, due to which he was sent to the Government Mental Health Research Center, where he remained under the observation of 3 psychiatrists for 20 days. According to the psychiatrist, Cadell was schizophrenic, and there are high chances that he had this mental issue since childhood. Due to Cadell's mental health, even after so many years, his trial has not started, nor has any relative come forward to take his responsibility. He is just counting his days in jail. With this, Cadell Jeanson Raja case ends here. Before you go, like, share, and subscribe the video.